Good morning. It's Monday again. For anyone paying close attention, different setting today. I've dropped my grandson off at nursery, so yeah, a little bit of a different drive today, not much. As I said, it's Monday, so it's predictions day. What do I think will happen in the game tonight? Well, we could very easily end up going two completely different directions tonight. And there's one of them which kind of is where I'm planning for the group to go, which almost completely assures that they will go with the other one. But the other one's actually been included to some extent. I mean, there is something that they could do, but to a large extent, it's been included as a distraction. Basically, at the end of the last game, the group was about to set out towards Osternaa. Now, they don't exactly know where Osternaa is, because there is no existing flow that leads to Osternaa. Legend has it that there once was a flow, that it's been since destroyed, and they kind of have a rough idea where it is, and they've actually come up with a very good plan where one of the characters has an item that, as long as they're within a crystal sphere at the time he uses it, he can use the item and get kind of a rough direction and distance to an individual. Now, they know that Sveltnum, Old Man Winter, was headed to Osternaa. So their plan is to go to 4 or 5 spheres in the area, use the item in each of those locations, and mark that on a map, and basically triangulate the location of Osternaa, which is a really good plan. Now, the other thing that's happened, though, is they've gotten word from Brawl. Now, Brawl is basically where this adventure really started. I mean, there was some previous to Brawl stuff on Red Eye, but it wasn't really tied into the actual current story. That was almost like a prelude, and then we moved into the story itself. So there is some connection to Brawl in the group. Excuse me. It is definitely Monday. But recently, the connections that they've had to Brawl have actually been falling off. The captain of the ship, at the time they were in Brawl, has left. A lot of the crew that was there in Brawl has either left or died. And Susha, whose uncle Sanshara is based in Brawl, he's left now as well. So a lot of their direct connections to Brawl are slipping away. They're becoming much less connected to the place than they were previously. But many of them still do hold some connection to the place. And they've just received word through one of Yoki's bounty hunter contacts everyone, now this was not meant just for them, it was a broadcast message, that everyone should avoid brawl at all costs. Basically, stay away. Now, they don't know why that message was sent, and anytime they've attempted to message towards anyone that's in the area around Brawl, they've not gotten an answer. Except in one case. Teowen attempted to message, ironically, the elf captain who, many apologies, the elf captain who recently was out to try to arrest them, who they've made a deal with of sorts. Teowen's tried to contact him. Now they know that his patrol route is normally between Red Eye and Brawl. And Teowen's messaged him to say, oh, I think I might have some more information for you. Can we meet? And has basically gotten a very short reply of, don't you think I'm a bit busy right now? If you have anything for me, bring it to me on the blockade lines. And that was it. Now, Teowen doesn't actually know what blockade lines he's talking about. And they haven't had any more information on that. Now, if they decide to pursue, so actually really with that, there's three courses that could happen. They could decide to go to Brawl and investigate. They could decide to go to the Dawn Song, which is the elven ship, and speak with him. Or they could decide to make their way to Osternaa and start plotting out these points. It could end up being a fundamental change in the game, depending on if they go towards Brawl or towards Osternaa. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to say right here, any of my players watching, after Monday night game, switch, before, after, whichever, switch off now, unless I've specifically said to you that you're okay to watch. Cool? Alright, we'll give it a minute. Otherwise, if they keep watching, I'll have to kill them horribly. Which I do have a couple things in place to do at the moment, but okay, yeah, they will have had time to switch off now. If they haven't, danger on them. Yeah, so basically what's going on in Brawl is that Sanchora's taken over. He used a legal loophole to declare the prince unfit, put the Council of Captains in temporary charge, which he's the leader of, and then used another loophole to disband the Council of Captains, leaving him in sole charge of Brawl. Martial law has been instituted, and he's basically decided to purge all of the elements that do not fit his version of the law, which are quite a few of them. So if they decide to go to Brawl, they're going to be walking right into the middle of a military city, a martial city, that is under siege. If they go to the elven ship, what they're going to realize is that the blockade line that he was talking about is a blockade that has been set up around Brawl to basically make sure nothing gets in, nothing gets out. When Sanchora has instituted his coup, when the elves have realized this, they had a ship in dock at the time that managed to get out. They've basically sealed off the place as best they know how. Obviously, with things like plane shift and teleportation, you can't ever seal a place completely. But one of the reasons that Spelljammer is still what it is that plane shifting or teleporting large volumes of anything is still problematic. So if you're trying to move large supplies of food or material, you have to do it by ship. So yeah, if they decide to go get embroiled in the stuff in Brawl, then that's going to take the game down one path where, well, if they go to Brawl directly, they'll probably end up captured and, well, that would end very badly. Very badly. Let's hope they don't go to Brawl. If they go to the Elven Captain, then they're going to find out what's happening on Brawl and be in the situation of, well, okay, do we stick around and try to do something about it? Do we just leave the elves to it? What do we do? If they go to Osternaa, then the situation in Brawl will just tick over without them. I have a timetable of when things are happening and why, and as the players advance, that timetable will advance. I keep a timetable like that for all of my major NPCs, so that I remember what their plans are, and I basically advance the NPCs forward as the player sessions advance forward, which means that I have about 7 games that I'm playing each week against myself that the players aren't even involved in. It's gotten a bit confusing in this game. They've made a lot of enemies. Now, if they decide to go to Osternaa, there are a few people that they might meet along the way. I think there are 7 possible NPCs that I'm going to make a roll and see if they bump into them. Some of them might help, some of them might hinder. Who knows? The other thing is that we do have 2 new crew people to introduce to the crew tonight. The player of Susha, who, as I said, Susha has now left the group. He's bringing in a new character. And also a player whose character died to the deck of many things last week. So Revu died to the deck of many things, or rather he hit Donjon and got banished, and they're not bothering to look for him. He's bringing in a new character as well. So it'll be interesting how I manage to merge them in, especially if they decide to go to Brawl, because both of these characters are out in the area kind of between Night and Osternaa. So if the crew decide to turn the ship around and head towards Brawl, our new players are kind of SOL. And I think on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. I'm hitting some traffic, so I'm not quite to work yet, but I kind of expected that. Yeah, so that's my predictions for tonight. It's going to be interesting. As always, like, subscribe, check out the links at the end. I probably still put Critical Role and Matt Colville on there. If you haven't already, check out the Stream of Annihilation that happened over the weekend. Some pretty cool stuff about the new storyline. Yeah, have a great day. See you tomorrow.